Yo guys, it's your friend here, bringing you another awesome Naruto What If tale. Today we are going to see what if Naruto was crowned as the divine heir of the Juubi and ruled over every shinobi and beast. Part 1. If you want more awesome fanfiction like this, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. So without wasting any time, let's get into the video. It was a rough night for the village of Kahawker, for earlier today they had been attacked by the dreaded Kyuubi no Yoko, a demon fox of immense powers. Originally the beast had been sealed within a female host, but during the birthing process the seal that contained the demon weakened and the Kyuubi was unleashed, and upon seeing the village the enraged kitsune attacked viciously, slaughtering several people. It was chaos until the now late Yanda Hok stopped the demon by sealing it within a new host. A beautiful woman with long bright red hair and blue eyes was holding her newborn son in her arms. She wore a hospital gown. The gown hugged her body perfectly and really showed off her amazing curves and large breasts. Her name was Kushina Chi Uzumaki, and she was the proud mother of now 3 beautiful children. Kushina is the daughter of Kurumi Aa and the former Jin Chiki of the now succeeded by her newborn son Nito Iih Uzumaki. As the Qy host, she smiled down lovingly at him. He had a mop of reddish blonde hair, and when he opened his eyes they were the darkest blue you ever saw. A warm feeling shot through her entire being as her eye roamed on his little form. She felt butterflies fluttering in her stomach. He had the cutest whisker marks on his face due to his mother being a former Jingari. There was a girl with him around 13 years old. She had large teacup breasts that most girls her age would kill for. She wore a dark blue shirt which was wide top showing off her cleavage, ambu style blue pants and a ton and vest. On her feet were blue sandals. There also was a boy of about 5 by her side with long dark red almost black hair and a ponytail and the same blue eyes as his mother. He is Itachi Uzumaki, the newborn's older brother. The girl is hinted Yumaki, Kushina's daughter, hinted had inherited her mother's looks and hairstyle as well as her red hair color, but it has blonde highlights. She is the elder sister of the two. Her eyes were the saw me blue as her mother's. B hugged her son closer. My little On, you will be a strong shinobi one day, and Kachan will help you there. She then scowled as she thought of her traitorous husband. No, make that traitorous late ex-husband. Damn you, Minato team. Her blue eyes changed into the crimson eyes of her mother's clan. The Sharingan of the AA3 Tomo swirled in both eyes. I hope the Shinigami is enjoying your wretched soul. Lash back a few hours earlier. No, Manachan please. K was holding Nudo tightly to her bosom. You can't seal the Qy in him. Please find another way. She could bell of what Minato was PLANNING to seal the Q into her son, which would make him the third Jin Chui. She had been pleading with him for the last 20 minutes. Minato looked at her impassively. I'm sorry Kha, but it must be done. Nudo must have that monster sealed within him. It is his fate. His voice sounded like he didn't even care about her wishes, that he wasn't really sorry at all. Kha looked to Saratoy for help. Jiggy, please talk some sense into him. Sadly the old man was with Minato on this one. Give Nudo to Minato. Kushina, besides with your bloodlines, Mato's genius mind and the Kyuubi's powers, the boy could become Koha's greatest weapon. Surat Toy had a wicked glint in his eyes, the glint that proved his title of the professor. Kha gasped, no, you want to turn my son into a weapon? This couldn't be the same kind old man who took her in after her home village of Yashio had been destroyed. Lotto smirked. Now you understand Kha, I only loved you for your power and body. If you weren't as powerful as you are, I wouldn't have bothered with you. Kha couldn't believe it. Minato was just like every other guy, wanting her just for her body and skills. To think she thought he was any different. How naive she was. She had just been used. Kha lower her head, her long red hair now shadowing her eyes. How long were you planning on doing this? Minato and Hin both smirked. Since the beginning, since we learned of your bloodlines and your connection as the Kyuubi's previous host. Herzen told her. Minato smirked. Face of Kish-chan, you claim to not be like the other girls of our class, yet you turned out to be just like them, falling for my mask of a kind and generous man. He began to laugh. Crewy, you girls really are too easy to fool. As for those 2 brats of ours, they will be used to breed more powerful shinobi, as will our newest brat Nudo be used. NCE he comes of age. Little did he know that his other two children overheard him. Hinit wept and Itachi hugged his sister, whispering comforting things into her ear. Itachi cursed their father. No Minato Namikaze, this monster was no father of their real fathers. Don't seal a monster inside your noober baby brother just for power, and they don't mention that you and your siblings will be used as breeding stock. There was something worse that Minato had done to his second eldest child, something unforgivable. Kha was trembling, full of sorrow and anger at his arrogant haughty tone. Why you monster, she reamed. Her anger grew at the thought of her sons and daughter being used as sex toys. She snapped her head up to reveal her Sharingan. I trusted you, I loved you, but you used me, you strung me along like some sheep. Kha, despite just giving birth a few hours ago, had managed to get out of the bed and onto her feet. Naruto was awakened by his mother's yell. Lol, he wasn't crying, he was actually glaring at his father. You will never use my children like that, Minato Namikaze. I'll die before that happens. She was about to go through hand seals for a jutsu, but here is in beat her to it. Temporary paralysis technique. Instantly Kha felt her entire body freeze up. The red-haired woman struggled to break free, but Hin wasn't a former Hokage for nothing, and plus Kha was still recovering from childbirth and the loss of her tailed beast. However, this wouldn't stop the powerful Alpha woman, and the minute she got free, these two teams were dead. She would teach them to play on her feelings and trust like that. No, the red-haired woman began to draw on what bit of QB power remained inside of her. I can't let these monsters use Itachi-kun Hinen, and especially not my little Naruto-kun baby making factories. Her eyes turned crimson with slits, and her hair now fell all the way to the ground. Her right arm began to morph into a demonic form. Shappu and filler arc. The false Jinu Riki Sor is demonic karm if you're confused. Her teeth and the nails on her left hand sharpened. Pies and cursed as he tried to maintain the jutsu. You better hurry and perform the sealing, Minato. She's drawing on what she has left of the QB's chakra. He could feel her will to move, overpowering his own to keep her still. Kino always had a powerful spirit. Lonato nodded and vanished via his flying god technique. Thea's body began to break free of the jutsu. Gizin pumped more chakra into the jutsu. You won't stop us, Kha. Your youngest son shall be our ultimate weapon. Just then Herzen suddenly felt a pain flare up where it really hurts. He looked down to see Hinata and Itachi both with one leg each embedded in his crotch. Hin could hold the jutsu no longer and fell to the ground in sheer agony, holding his throbbing crotch. The Shay was now fully mobile again, and the natural Uzumaki recovery began to heal her weakened organs and muscles. Soon, in a matter of minutes, she was recovered enough to move completely, and Itachi ran to their there and hugged her, crying on. We heard everything. We hate that man, Hin cried. Itachi cried too. Hek, a monster Kassen. I hate him so much. I know, Mum Sai, I hate him too. Now come on, let's go rescue Narkin, Kushina said, patting both her older children's heads with a smile. They looked at their mother and SMI led back. Hi Kassen, let's go retrieve Arato. Thea activated her eternal Manaku. Sharing in her version took the form of a black 12-bladed shuriken design with a small red lotus shape in the space between each blade, and in the middle of the shuriken was a red pupil. Hold on, Nunkachan. On her way with that, Kina and her children suddenly vanished into thin air as if they were sucked into some kind of void battlefield. Lonato had already performed a dead demon consuming seal. He was dying, and Gamabunta had already gone back to the summoning realm beyond. May laughed. Naruto, you're going to be a powerful weapon for our village. No matter what your mother says, she can't stop it. The Yandime was on the ground on his back, dying with Nudo in his arms. If he had the strength to look, he'd be shocked to see the dark glare his son was giving him. The baby was emitting and of pure darkness. Want to bet Manachan saw it, a familiar woman's voice in a sickly sweet tone. The Yandime paled and looked to see Ken standing over him, smiling sweetly at him, but her eternal Sharingan was spinning. Her two children stood by her side, looking hatefully at the man who dared call himself their father. So you're dying, hun? Well, let me help you. It's my duty as your wife. Kina then lifted her right arm, which was currently in a demonic form. It was larger and bulkier than her left, and the fingers ended in vicious-looking claws. The skin was a dark demonic red. It glowed with red. Yaki. Lonato begged one last time, please, K-chan. I was Just even in death he tries to seduce his way out of it. It wouldn't save him this time. Ka didn't let him finish and brought her demonic hand down on his stomach, rupturing it. The Yandai died instantly from the yaki poisoning. His blood spurted onto her hand and clothes as well as on her face. Lit. Lakina brought her demonic hand up to her face and studied it with great interest. Blood dripped off of it, shining in the moonlight. How strange! I seemed to enjoy the feel of blood on my hands. Could this be bloodlust? A dark, seductive grin graced her features. Kha giggled evilly and turned to see Minato's corpse still bleeding. It turned her on so much seeing that bastard's corpse quickly paling and cooling due to the blood loss, but she refused to do that around her children, her youngest especially, at least not until he was around 13. Kina returned her arm back to its normal human form. She then licked her hand clean of the blood. She was careful not to waste a single drop. Soon her hand was clean of all the blood and she licked the remaining blood off her lips and cleaned her face. Several of the Subers saw what she did, luckily though she was too far away for them to see her frightening actio. Ns earlier the wounded Chun and yelled, "How could you do that to Yandmei sama woman?" His friend agreed, "Yeah, just wait until the medics and Lord S. Dammy arrive. He'll be executed for the death of a Hok." They all froze when an immense Kai rallying the QB hit them straight on. The slowly looked at them over shoulder with her M's glowing red, a purple evil awe towering over her form, which then took on a familiar fox shape with 9 tails. "I can't allow witnesses to live. I'm afraid I'll have to kill you all now." She smiled an evil smile that would make Orochimaru scared. The survivors cowered, learning of Minato and Surat Toy's true natures have changed. Kha awakened something frightening within her that had been asleep for the past 15 years. Her true sadistic evil personality has reawakened. Beware to all those who dare to threaten Naruto in the future when she's around, for if you do, make Kami have mercy on your souls, because Kha sure as hell. One word escaped her lips, the word that sealed their doom. Amaterasu, her right. Eternal Miku spun. The last thing the sewers ever saw were the eternal black flames igniting all over the battlefield before they and the corpse of Minato Namikaze were swallowed by Aya of unholy fire. But some survived Kasha's attack beside Ka herself, those others being her children. The moon had suddenly turned a blood red color and shined down on little Naruto, blocking out the flames easily inside the min beam. Little Naruto came face to face with a giant monster that made the QB look weak and small in comparison. It was a massive black wolf with strange crimson eyes. Its head alone was larger than the Q whole torso. This wolf was at least 5 times bigger than the QB. The wolf's unique eyes had 9 Sharingan-like Tomo and 4 rings in them which surrounded a slitted Upil-10 massive, almost 4-mile-long talls swished behind the mighty creature. This massive beast was the true ruler of all demons, the Junomi, the ultimate force of nature, who was thought to have been defeated by the Raidu Sennin. But humans tend to over-exaggerate to make themselves seem invincible. Sybil the Demon King grinned down at the newborn, showing his massive fangs. "Do you fear me, little one?" Naruto stared up at him without even flinching at all, with a calm, cold glance. Auu was stunned. He was completely speechless, fiscally unbelievable. Not even a little fear from him. This little one, he has a great darkness within his heart, even more powerful than me, yet I can also see his love and compassion for his family, well, at least his mother and siblings. I have found the heir to my title and powers, the one who will surpass my limits. His grin widened. "Yes, little one, you are the one, the future Juubi." He shot one of his tails down at the boy, but Naruto didn't even flinch as the tail touched his forehead and began filling him with the demon's Iman's Yaki, which would lay dormant until fully awakened. The Jui smirked as Naruto's hair gained black streaks. His blue-violet eyes changed into black eyes with H3 crimson Tomo and 1 ring in each surrounding a shred-slit pupils. His little nails sharpened and he now had little fangs in his mouth. The wolf turned to leave. "I look forward to seeing how you grow, my heir." In another moonbeam the Jew was gone. Little Naruto subconsciously concentrated and a Adoi demonic barrier formed around him, protecting him and his siblings from the flames. But in Nutke body a certain N-tailed fox sensed what was happening and opened 1 crimson eye. "So I'm sealed again, Yuji, but wait, I'm sealed in Kushi-chan's boy. I wonder what he will be like." The QB began to close her I again, but one last thought the fox had before falling asleep was this: Gina-chan, my dear friend, I hope I'll get to see you again sometime this century. Naruto had holding his barrier, which had absorbed some of the Amaterasu. Kha controlled the flames with her right eye and dispelled them with her L. Nothing was left around the battlefield. Minato's corpse and the survivors were reduced to mere ashes. Naruto dispelled his barrier until further notice. Thea scooped Naruto into her arms, smiling gently. She said while rocking him, "Kachan, here Narun, and she will never let any bad people hurt you. Kachan I'll kill them if they even dare to try. Yes, she will. Kachan will kill all who to threaten you, my little sack." She looked down at her son, noticing his new features, but they didn't bother her, not even a little bit. If anything, they made her son look unique. "Narun, you look even more handsome than before." Shish! Exclaimed, looking at his sharp little claws and fangs. She had to admit her little boy looked amazing with those new features. He fit the fee look way better than those smelly and Yuzuka. Kushina turned to her other children. Itachi, Kunan, Hinan, let's go. With that, the family once again vanished, heading back to the hospital. Harrison arrived to see nothing but a chart crater and flashback. Hinata and Itachi wanted to hold their little brother Hassan. "May I hold a?" Hin asked, smiling. Hinata looked up to her mother because she was everything a Kenichi should be. Hinted maybe only a Tunin, but she is strong. Not a battle Jonin rank or even Anber rank ninja, including a certain Cyclops Scarecrow aka Kakashi. Her Sharingan was awakened at age 7 already at level 3. Bakken, I want to hold a after Nan, Itachi said with the same smile. Sure, Hinan. Itachi-kun. Kushina smiled to her older children. She was about to hand Naruto over to Hin, and suddenly the hospital door broke open and several UO filled the room. They woke up Naruto, who narrowed his now blue-violet slitted eyes. There were about 10 in all, but these UO were not the UO that served the HOK. These UO had blank masks and their stances were extremely well. Tread Bish narrowed her eyes. "Who are you?" "That is your revent," the lead Ambu replied in a monotone. "Hand over the baby, our leader wants him." Bash glared at them, releasing Kai. "What does your leader want with my little Narun? We wish to use the power inside of him, and our master has ordered us to retrieve the Brad in any way, even if we must kill you." The Ambu pointed his sword to Kha. "Will you hand him over peacefully, or do we kill you and take him from your lifeless hands?" Ka activated her Sharingan. The Ambu then lunged at Kina with their Tonto drawn. Kina inwardly cursed she couldn't fight them. Why? Holding Naruto, but then the Ambu struck a dark barrier and were reduced to ashes. Kha looked down to see her son emitting a dark and powerful barrier around himself and her. His eyes were now had 3 crimson tomo around a single crimson ring, and both on a black background surround a red slit pupil. Kha was surprised. Narun, her eyes weaned seeing the Tomo, the Sharingan, but how Narun was born just a few hours ago. She then hugged him tightly. "You're my little guardian, aren't you, Narun?" "Cash Ced, my little hero." The Tachi and Hinted were shocked to see their newborn baby brother actually powerful enough to form a barrier. Itachi saw Nut's eyes and fainted. It took one look and followed her younger brother's example. Kha was rocking Naruto in her arms. "Good job, Narkin. Kachan is so proud of you." Naruto looked up at his mother with the most caring smile, and only his family and future loved ones would see his smiles. Kha asked, "Are you hungry, Narun?" Little Naruto nodded. Kha opened the top of her gown, fully revealing her large breasts lactating with milk. Naruto latched onto her right breast and began to nurse. If Kha had noticed, she would have seen a dark possessive gle in her young son's eyes. Saw her too. Older children passed out and giggled. They must have fainted from seeing the Sharingan in a newborn's eyes. She led her youngest child nurse, and it sent a wave of pleasure down her spine. Soon a man with red hair tied in a ponytail in a way similar to that of the Yanaka clan head appeared via Shunan H. Had the same blue eyes as Kha. The man wore a black shirt with a red swirl and a Junin jacket. His pants were dark blue. He also wore metal-plated gloves similar to those Kakashi wore. He looked to be about 3 years young than Kha. Kish looked at the man Akio. This man was Akio, a Uzumaki, Kash's younger brother. He was the greatest master of ninjutsu in the village. He grinned. "Hey Chan, it's nice to see you're all right." He noticed her open hospital gown and blushed. "Oh shush." The Kushina's hair suddenly lifted into 9 streets. Her eyes gained a demonic light to them as she smiled. "You should knock before You come in a room, especially a room with a mother feeding her child in them. She used a one-handed seal shadow clone technique. The clone of KHA appeared in full ninja gear, cracking its knuckles. Now Nan, let's not do anything you regret, Iko said, backing away. The clone KHA jumped at Iko and began to beat him senseless. Aiko's screams of pain and agony were heard all over the hospital. Kay ignored her younger siblings' cries. She said lovingly to her son, your baka oi has been a bad boy, Narun. Only you or another girl who can see mommy's breasts. Nudo finished nursing at that moment. Did you enjoy that SN? Ak, Narun, Kha asked in a loving tone. Arrow gazed up at his mother and nodded. That's my good boy, Khaced. Ouch. Ikoed on the ground, beaten badly by the clone. He weakly got up and saw his sister had adjusted a robe to close up. So that's my newly born nephew, Wei Chan. Yes, my newly born son, Nudo Aichus. Amaki, or as I call him, my little Narun, Kushina said with a glowing smile. Now I have 3 beautiful children to take care of, and you're helping me. She gave him a stern glance, meaning it. What but man, I thought Minato had been. Akio nearly had a heart attack at the immense Kai his elder sister emit. Ted at the utterance of that man's name. The never speak that name in my or my children's presence ever again. Kha hissed coldly, her Sharingan now blazing. But why? Aya was confused. I'll show you. Akashina looked into her brother's eyes with her eternal Manaku Sharingan, allowing him to see what had happened. And when she was done, Aio began to curse at a pace and intensity that would make you of the sound for blush. The Tachi and Hin were still passed out, so they didn't hear anything. Cash held Nutke ears shut. At watch your language. I don't want my children hearing those words. She unleashed Morai to shish. Oot him up. Bakio shut his mouth and looked down. I'm sorry that they used you like that, Nan. He suddenly remembered something that he had heard from their mother's spies. Okan mentioned she has created an organization that would finally end the struggle in the shinobi world. I know about that already, Aad. Okasan told me about it. She named this organ Yashin Akatsuki, strange name for a powerful organization. Red Dawn, not exactly threatening. Sure, it could mean blood, but there are many other means to it as well, the red-haired woman replied with a shrug. Now Cash-chan, I think it's a rather good name. Saw it a familiar voice. Both Uzumaki turned as a mysterious person suddenly materialized into the room. This person was clad in red samurai armor worn in olden times of Koha. She wore a black catchy robe with red clouds over her armor. A black mask hit the person's face. The person's hair was knee-length rave N backwards flowing spiky hair, and removed her mask, revealing the face of a goddess. Her youthful-looking face was framed perfectly by bangs of her hair, with one large bang covering her left eye while her right eye was red with 3 tamo. This woman was Karami, a co-founder of Kagar and the first Aider of the AA clan, until she was betrayed by her own clan and nearly killed by Hashar Renu, a man she once had a crush on. Now Karami had a well-deserved grudge against both her old village and her clan. When Karami had been stabbed by Hashirama and thrown off the cliff, she was sent downstream after falling into the water to the country of Yuzun no Kuni, where she was saved by the Nid Yuzuka and Yuzuki clan head Ryan Yuzuki. It was love at first sight for both of them, and things just clicked from there, despite the fact that she should be pushing 80 plus years old due to the power of her eternal a new Sharingan, and having awakened the Renan. Karami didn't look older than her early 20s. Bash-chan Akun. Karami smiled at her children. Dasha and Akio both smiled back. Kasan. Akio sighed. It's not the same without Ao, is it? Bash grew sad at the mention of her deceased youngest brother. Karami placed 1 hectare ND on her eldest child and only daughter's shoulder and looked down as the fond memories of her youngest child flowed through her mind. Bito Iih Uzumaki was the youngest of the 3 siblings and died as a chunin on Minato's team, no less. He didn't receive much of their father's Uzumaki bloodline, and his Sharingan activated late, unlike Akko and Kushina, but he did receive their father's outgoing personality and love of pranks. The Bio always made the family laugh and cheer them up whenever they were down. He was their light in a world of darkness. They really missed him. It was all Kakashi's fault. Ito was killed. If Kakashi wasn't so arrogant and foolish, Ao might be here today. Kha snarled. It's their fault. It's all Hot High Team's and Minato back's fault that Otto was killed, and worse, Hitaki team had the nerve to steal it. Tonksai Gami stroked her daughter's long red hair. Don't worry, Mum, we will Make hot outpay for stealing our bloodline. Bash leaned into her mother's touch. Thanks Kasangami smiled. Sure, she looked at Naruto. Is this my newest grandchild? Yes Kas, and this is my little Narun. Kha smiled brightly and held up Nudo, who had just finished feeding. Nudo looked into the face of his grandam other and smiled. Karami took him into her own arms. My, he is a handsome little guy. Cash-chan, I'm almost jealous of you, Karami joked with a giggle. Kha blushed before quickly snatching her son back. Kasan, you're so embarrassing, and quit hugging my Narun. Besides Itachi and Hinchin wanted to hold him first, but currently they're out cold, as if wanting to show his grandmother his new eyes. Nutke blue eyes changed into the special eyes of their clan. 3 crimson Tomo spun on a single crimson ring in his eyes. Gami was stunned. It was amazing. Her newborn grandson was the youngest Sharingan wielder in the history of the AA clan. No wonder her older grandchildren fainted. If she wasn't the experienced ninja she was, she'd probably joined them in snooze land. Just then Kushina narrowed her eyes, sensing a familiar chakra approaching her. Sharingan activated. Here Ison, she hissed scornfully. Kinalu head down at her son. Narun, sweetie, I need you to deactivate your Dijutsu. If the HOK finds out, he will try to take you away from me, and I couldn't bear that. So can you do this for Kachan? Theo nodded understandingly, and his eyes changed back into their normal dark blue color. Bash smiled lovingly. Deactivating her own Sharingan. That's my good boy. Gami vanished from the room via teleportation just as the door opened to reveal the Sand Amy Hokage. Here's in Kobe and a silver-haired Ambo with a dog mask. This Ambu was Kakashi Hadakim Minato's prodigy student and the only ninja to have the Sharingan Edo Sharingan, no less. Thea narrowed her eyes venomously. A Kakashi, you will regret stealing my little brother's eye, you arrogant brat. I will put you in your place. Kobe smiled sadly to Kushina. Sorry about what happened to Minato. Cash-chan, he was a good man. Kish smiled back while inside she wanted to gut th. As old fool, yeah, I did love him after all. So Hokage-sama, what will happen now? Dro dead old man. Now we move on and become stronger because of this event. I must tell the village what happened. K inwardly sneered at him. I knew you would say that. Here is in your lower than the worst missing nins out t. Here the Ambo saw Nudo and scowled behind his mask, but he knew he couldn't dare try anything with the boy's mother and siblings around. You will pay for killing my sensei, demon brat. I will avenge him and all those who died this night by your claws. Oh, how little this fool knew about Nudo. If only he kn. He was insulting the future ruler of the entire demon realm. Surat Toy spoke. Cash-chan, will you come with me so I can explain to the village what happened this night? I must hide Naruto's heritage as Minato's son, so people must not know that you're his mother. I will place a seal on him that will keep people from making the connection. Even if you did that, I'll still know he's my son. No seal can fool me, the red-haired woman thought, and her thoughts changed. You thought Minato made that seal? Please, I was the one who showed him how to create it. Also Cash-chan, I'll have to place him in the orphanage. What? Kha shouted angrily. Her shout woke up her other 2 children. Both Itachi and Hin ran up to their mother and glared at the old man. I'm sorry, but I can't allow you to raise him because for one, he now holds the QB and is the village's best weapon, and to your mental state is questionable at best. He suddenly froze as Kushina unleashed a sea's worth of Kai towards him. The Kashi fell to his knees in sheer terror. His Ambo training meant squat in the presence of this woman who was strong enough to give his deceased sensei and SS class Shinobi a run for his money. Surat Toy felt fear he hadn't felt since the time his female student Tsunade had caught Jera peeping on her. He shivered. Impossible. How can she release so much Kai, especially after giving birth a few hours ago? It's like Yamaki, our chakra gods. Bish turned to Surat Toy, revealing her fully mature Sharingan. Leiden, get a couple of things straight here, old man. I don't want any more seals placed on my Narun, nor will I allow you to separate me from him. Got it? I don't care if people find out Nukan is that man's son. If anyone, and I mean anyone, dares try anything, I'll send what's left of them home in a matchbox. B. Kai rose to KAG level at dark cystic grin appeared on her flawless features, frightening Harzan even more. Even you, old man. Kobe shook with terror, completely overpowered considering the age difference and the fact that KHA had actual bloodlines. It wasn't so surprising. The young will take over the reins and the old shall fade. Into history. Kakashi fainted on the spot. Surat Toy pulled himself together and nodded. Very well KCH, you can raise your son, but I'll have you telling you to monitor his progress. Fish mentally scoffed, as if I'd let you spy on us. Old man, she knew exactly how to avoid them. Kish Uzumaki was not the ex-gen Iki of a Kitsun demon for nothing. Soon Surat Toy called a village-wide meeting and stood on the Hokage Tower balcony before a massive crowd of civilians and shinobi alike. Kina stood several feet away beside him holding Naruto. Sarobi cleared his throat before speaking. Ahem, attention, tonight we have the worst EST taster ever to hit our fair village. We have survived an attack by the Q no Yoko. HHHA rolled her eyes. Yeah, I only wish Naomi-chan had caused much more damage. Cheers erupted from the crowd at that statement. Sadly, it was not without tragedy. We lost several loved ones to the demon TTACK, including our beloved Yanda Hokage. Several people began to cry at that statement, especially several women who had fairish obsessions towards Minato. One person asked Amy-sama, did Yandi Mayama beat the demon? Anyways, I'm glad you asked. He beat the demon by sealing it away. The QB was much too powerful to be sealed within an object, so he sealed it with a child who had been born on this night. Surat Toy gestured to Kushina, who held Nudo. This child, Naruto Uzumaki, is the container of the Q and savior of our village. Kobe waited to see their reaction. Suddenly one man shouted, kill the demon. Ru rock ride at the boy only for Kha to easily catch it and crush it in her hand. His reaction sparked others to start throwing rocks, but Kha caught and destroyed every single one. Little Nudo opened his eyes to reveal his mysterious Dage Jutsu, and suddenly a strange void opened up and sucked Severa civilians in, and they never came out, but blood pulled out of it along with body parts and shredded clothes. The void closed up. Bash unleashed the full brunt of her Kai upon the crowd, silencing them. The next person who throws a rock will join the number of lives lost this night. The crowd shivered. Fr. Her Kai. In fact, many people fainted from sheer fright. Kha looked down at her son with pride and whispered lovingly, my little dark knight. Do. Surat Toy yelled, I am ashamed of you all. He's the living prison protecting us all from the demon. Yandai Mei's last wish was for him to be seen as our savior. From this moment on, I'm decreeing that his Ganeri status is secret, and you may never speak of it to your children. If you dare even whisper it, you shall be sand to life imprisonment or even execution. Kha narrowed her eyes. Suspicious. What's you game, old man? I know you still want my son as the villa G's loyal tool. The crowd murmured and begrudgingly left. Kobe smiled to Cashin. Now we must have a council meeting about what occurred this night. Enna scoffed under her breath. Whatever, she wanted to get this over with already. Council chambers. The council was in an uproar as a ninja had explained to them that the QB had been turned into a human child, and like the idiot some of them were, they believed it. The entire council was yelling to kill the demon brat, all except for the Haruno clan head herself. Rose Haruno was a beautiful woman with exotic pink hair and bright emerald eyes. Her breast rivaled so on a days. Soon Surat Toy and Kino arrived in the chambers via Shunan. The minute the council saw little Nudo in Ken's arms, they all minus Rose glared at the baby with such contempt, hoping their looks alone would kill him. Unfortunately, they did not enter their great shock. Naruto glared right back with 10 times the contempt. The council all actually flinched at the baby's ice-cold glare that could freeze hell over. No newborn child should be capable of such a dark glare. Bros was surprised. Unbelievable, a newborn child shouldn't show such contempt. I fear this village has just dug its own grave. Shishish. Shook her head sadly. Paku has sneered at the boy while his wife Makoto looked sad for her best friend. She had a very bad feeling someone would do something that would forever destroy Kash's trust in them. She prayed to Kami that her feeling was wrong. Unfortunately, she was 100% correct. Suum the Inuzuka matriarch screamed in outrage, kill that little demon Hokage-sama, or better yet, having lost her beloved to the QB, she wanted Nudo dead right now. She lunged out of her seat right at Naruto with a kuna drawn. Let me kill it, it must die for killing my Shippon, but Kha quickly countered with a kunai of own. A faint red-purple aura wisp around her form. Kha growled, revealing sharp fangs rivaling Eni and Yuzuka, because she's been now constantly using what little Yaki the QB left within her. She's been growing more and more like a demon. The Yaki has been growing and warping her minute. The former Jin Shui snarled hatefully with now crimson slit eyes. Why you, how dare you attack my Sai right in front of me? She reached out with her right-handed suddenly growing long and sharp Yuki Infu's claws and swiped Zoom across her face right on her eyes. The Inuzuka was lucky if she didn't lose the use of her eyes. Zoom fell back into her seat grabbing her face in pain and screamed as the Yaki burned her. Kha sneered at her former teammate and now ex-friend. Did that hurt Zoom-chan? She asked in a mocking childish tone. Poor little puppy, consider that the breaking of our bond as friends now we are immortal enemies. Kha declared. The Yuzuki clan and Inuzuka clan are now rivals. Yaku lunged at Cash. The demon has corrupted you. His Sharingan activated and he also drew a kunai. I must kill you to save your soul, but Kha easily stepped his attack and then spin kicked him into the wall. Fugaku crashed T. Hero the wall, leaving a human-shaped hole behind. The civilians shivered at the dark look in the Uzumaki women's eye. Thea flicked her long hair back. No, I'd rather be corrupted by a demon than deal with you people anymore. Kha stood before the council and spoke. You all are stupid fools. You think my so N is a monster. Fine, then I'll tell you this. I'm through with all of you. I want nothing more to do with any of you. I will make you all regret the day you dared to cross me. I will only come around to do missions, nothing more. She gazed down at her son. Don't worry, Narkan Kachan will protect you from all these monsters. This I swear on our clan's honor. Theodo was shocked and tried to protest, but Fugaku, who miraculously recovered from his little trip, slapped her hard, glaring. Keep quiet, he sneered towards Ken. That's fine, we'll make sure your demon son there never gets any food. Kha ignored him. N vanished from the council room via Yuzu Shannon. The Aussie thought Kha has been tainted by that little demon. I will make sure it dies someday. His Bakugan activated as he stood up and went home to his clan compound. Surat Toy was shocked. Damn it, I can't let her get away. I will have that weapon. Dono and Elder and the founder of Northeast had the exact same thoughts, only darker, and this part of the chapter is over. Time skip 5 years later. It has been 5 years since the QB attack and things in the village have gotten worse. For Naro, attacks come from people almost every day. Surprisingly, the boy doesn't care one bit what they try as long as they don't harm his family. For a 5-year-old, Nudo is dead serious and can give a dark glare that would rival that of the Shinigami. The boy doesn't trust anyone in Koha except for his own family and only his family. He doesn't even trust the Sami, for he has a photographic memory even as a baby, and he remembers the old fart wanted him to be loyal to this pathetic excuse of a village. Naruto had long golden blonde hair that spiked similar to his grandmother Kurami. His eyes were the darkest blue you ever saw. They were red and black streaks running through his Ir. Despite the prejudice against him, Naruto had a rather good in shape build for his age, cause his mother got food and other supplies from outside of Koha in exchange for giving their sellers some Koha jutsu to sell to other hidden villages. Currently the boy was alone in his home. His mother and Sibl Ings were on a mission that would take a majority of the day. Nudo knew that the council was behind this. They always wanted to kill him but couldn't as long as his family was around. Naruto had just finished breakfast and was now waiting for his family to return. An Ambu with a bird mask was walking towards the Uzumaki home. He was happy thanks to Master Jera gave them a reverse summoning scroll to take the demon to its well-deserved executioners who were waiting in a excluded part of the village. The Ambu grinned behind his mask. Soon Yandai Mei Sama, soon you will be avenged and the demon will be dead and in hell where he know it belongs. The Yu then knocked on the door. Theo heard knocks and narrowed his eyes. Who is it? He walked over and slightly opened the door to reveal one of the Hokage. Ambu Amaro Yamaki. Hokage Sama wishes to speak with you and ask me to lead you to him. Nudo glared call DLY at the Ambu, who flinched, having felt the glare even through his mask. DCH, this is why you need to die, demon. You're scary. The Yu thought with contempt. Well, what does he want from me? The boy asked so coldly that even in a Hugo would flinch. The Ambu shivered and handed him the scroll. Your key. This scroll will explain everything. Nudo took the scroll. HMPH, very well. He unrolled the scroll, but all he saw was a strange seal on it. What? The seal glowed red and Nudo could only widen his eyes as he realized it was a reverse summoning scroll. There was a poof of smoke in Naruto and the Ambu were Gone draining ground. Naruto found himself in the middle of a bloodthirsty mob armed with weapons, and the were two genin. One had pale skin, white hair and brown eyes, the other had tan skin, a scar on his nose, black eyes and brown hair which was tied in a pineapple style. The white-haired gen and grin. Ned wickedly, it's time to die, demon brat. He drew kunai. The tan one sneered, you killed my parents, you damn monster, I will avenge them. He also withdrew kun kunai. Nutke glare frightened them cause his eyes turned slightly slitted like an Inuzuka. He flexed his sharp nails. The boy didn't speak but one word. Whatever. One man screamed full of hatred and fear, kill the demon now everyone. Its glare and nails aren't even human. The mob attacked Naruto. They beat him to a bloody mess, but not once did the boy even grunt in pain. He wouldn't give them the satisfaction. Little did anyone know but a large silver dog, around Kerr's height if not a little larger, was walking down the very road that led to the secluded area. This dog had silver fur, a flowing elegant tail and a ruff of fur around its neck. The strange thing about this dog was its red eyes with green slits. A blue moon was on its forehead and magneto strips were just behind its mouth. This is the village where Naomi-chan was last seen. Suddenly the dog smelled the scent of blood. What is going on here? I know humans have developed powers similar to some low-level demons now, but this blood smells young. Quickly the dog picked up the pace, racing down the road, and to any passerby it was just a silver blur. Something was drawing it towards a certain someone. Soon the dog came across a group of people who were beating on a young child. Much to the dog's disgust, what now, humans are beating on their own children? That is not right. The dog became angry. ND soon ran towards the area to help the boy. Naruto never cried once as they beat him. He just took it like a real man with no crying or whimpering. Soon the mob backed off to see their handiwork. Naruto's left arm was twisted painfully, but thanks to his tenant he'd be healed in a matter of hours if no minutes. His clothes were tattered and coated in his blood, but his glare never wavered. He was still standing without even been knocked over. Sure enough, his wounds hissed and began closing. Naruto ignored the weird feeling of his bones realigning to their proper places. The genin shivered. I don't belly. He didn't even flinch. This beating could take down even a Jonah. The civilian man screamed, I knew it, only a demon wouldn't be hurt. The crowd gathered around Naruto ready to deliver the finishing blow when suddenly a silver blur shot throughout the crowd and several people suddenly fell to the ground dead. They had some limbs taken out as well. Ludo raised an eyebrow. What? The large silver dog soon made its entrance known. The ripped out limbs were in its mouth, but the dog spat them out in disgust. The limbs looked melted. The people that were left screamed, it's a dog and it's defending the damn demon, let's kill it and bring its corpse to the Inuzuka clan. The mob soon charged foolishly to their deaths as the dog easily tore through all of them. Several people were mauled so badly that they died right away. People had their guts ripped out, their manhoods destroyed, even their heads crushed beneath the dog's paws. To their surprise and horror, the dog's saliva released a green mist which was revealed to be highly acidic and poisonous. When it melted several people down into bloody puddles, soon where a whole mob once stood there was nothing left but a big bloody puddle laying in the middle of the road. Somehow you came and rescued the two genin and got out. Naruto wasn't scared. If anything, he was impressed. The poison in the area had no effect on him whatsoever. Within him a demonic voice whispered, Gina-chan, it's been a century or two since I've last seen you. Then Naruto fell to one knee with blue dribbling from his mouth. Narc wounds were much more severe than he originally thought as they spilled out blood. The Genu Riki cursed with a dark scowl to match his glare. Damn it, it seems they managed to hurt me more than I expected. I'll have to wait for my wounds to heal more. Theo managed to hobble all the way to the road that lead into the area and leaned against a tree to wait for his family to come home. A silver dog walked up to him, surprised by the fact that a 5-year-old was actually using strong language. Naruto noticed and raised an eyebrow. Yes, the dog stopped right in front of him and its head looking at him in wonder. Then, to Nut's intrigue, the majestic canine actually spoke back and in a feminine voice, sorry, I'm just surprised that a child would know such language. Naruto shrugged, ignoring the feeling of his arm healing and realigning itself back to normal. When an entire villa hates you, then you tend to pick up a few things. I see. And what is your name, young one? Naruto didn't know why, but he could sense that this dog was special, and not just because of its ability to talk. Her unique size. He introduced himself, I'm Naruto Yuzuki, and I am also interested in knowing your name. I LL assume by your voice that you're female. The dog actually blushed slightly. Indeed, I am a girl. My name is Gasso Naruto, and as you can probably tell, I'm not your run-of-the-mill dog. What is it about this boy? Something about him is drawing me to him. Yes, I can sense much greater power within you than even from those dogs. The Inuzuka clan lies. Gina tilted her head. Inuzuka clan. It is one of the many clans in this wretched village that despises my very existence. The boy said the word village like he was spitting out something rotten. Can you tell me why? Gina asked. Naruto didn't understand why, but he felt as if he could trust Gina, so he told her the story of his birth and what happened on that day. Gina was taken off guard completely. If he has the QB, then that means Naomi-chan is sealed with him, but if that's the case, then he saved this village from her wrath. So why does the village hate him? Did Naomi-chan really cause that much damage? Theaha gates Vyun and were guarding the gates when they saw someone approaching fast. A tall beautiful woman with long bright red hair, blue eyes, and wearing a black john and vest, ambu style pants, sandals, and a blue shirt was seen racing Tawa RDS the gates. She had very well endowed breasts that easily rivaled Sun's famed figure. She was running at a very fast pace towards the gates, using her chakra to increase her speed, her headband gleaming proudly on her forehead. It wasn't a symbol of Koha, but rather a simple swirl, the symbol of her home. Eland Kha had threatened Surat Toy to allow her to wear her original Yuzu headband. Her uniform was coated in blood, but it wasn't her own. This woman was Kushina Chamaki, the mother of Naruto Aih Uzumaki, Hina Chamaki, and Itachi Akai Uzumaki. Nor was Kashin alone, for running right beside her were her previously mentioned children. Her eldest, a young pretty girl of 18 with the same red hair and exotic blue eyes as her mother. Blonde highlights were visible in her hair with the right light. She wore an ambu captain's outfit which hugged her slim form perfectly. The top was pushed out by her large braia STS which rivaled her mother's. Her mask, which was that of a wolf, was on her shoulder. Her Koha headband was wrapped around her left bicep. The second eldest was a tall young man of 10 years old. He had dark red, almost black hair and his mother's blue eyes. He wore a blue shirt, white shorts, and sandals. His headband was wrapped around his forehead like most ninja, and of course waiting for them was the youngest Nudo. They had easily completed their Aranank mission in just an hour and rushed back here. However, some stupid bandits actually thought that two John and Kanoi and a young Chunin would be Aya's pickings and attack them on the way back to the village. The two Chunin bowed to Kha, fearing her wrath. Welcome back, K Sawama, one Chunin said with a shiver. K stopped and spoke impassively. Joan and Cash Yamaki returning from the assassination mission in Kusa no Kuni. Of course, Cash Sama, you may go. In the other replied shakily. Bash ran into the gates followed by her two children. All she wanted to do was to go home and see her youngest child. She despised the fact that the council would keep her away from her baby so long. With these missions, she knew that if they found a way to get Nudo outside, they would take advantage of it and attempt to kill him. If it weren't for the fact that she'd have Hunter Nin on her trail, she would take her children away from this hellhole. After slaughtering every civilian and all the other clans in this lime ball and hanging them by their entrails from the Hawk Age Tower, for all people who visit to see, Ken's heart wrenched painfully at the thought of losing her youngest son to these monsters. She would not ever allow that to happen. Narun, just hold on, I'm coming home, she thought with worry and determination. Bado, please be safe in it. And Itachi had the same thought of their little brother. Just then the three Uzumaki stopped as they heard several people complaining. They saw two men muttering about something. One guy muttered, "We were so close to killing the demon brat this time, yet the creature didn't even flinch as we gave it the justice it deserved. It mo. CKEDs with its healing." A second guy nodded. "Yeah, until this dog, probably another demon, defended the beast and killed the others. I lost my best friends today." He clenched his fists and growled, "That demon has summoned one of his minions. He will die someday. I'll make sure of it." Unfortunately for him, certain people just happened to overhear the conversation. The red blur suddenly rushed at the two men and slammed them hard into the wall, using kunai to pierce their arms and legs to pin them to the wall. The two men were pinned by several kunai embedded in their hands, feet, legs, and arms. The kuna I were driven in so deeply that they came out the other side into the wall. The first guy groaned in agony. Yuji who hit us, he looked only to wish he hadn't, for right in front of them was a very pissed off Kashima Uzumaki. Her M's was glowing and spinning wildly. The two men cowered under her angry glare. Shadows soon covered them. The two men looked up to see a massive dark crimson-purple demonic creature hovering above Ken. It surrounded her, fully manifested, a very familiar demon fox with 9 tails and glowing red eyes. They felt as if their bodies were frozen, trapped by the Q-Susa's claws. They couldn't budge even an inch as the claws began to crush them. Several civilians screamed at the sight of the giant chakra being. Thea growled out, "What the hell did you bastards do to my baby?" The Susu fox look-alike actually roared similarly to the real QB. Saliva escaped its small W. "We just beat the boy Ali. TTLE to teach him a lesson, but he didn't even flinch even when we pierced him with our weapons and 2 gen and pierced him with kunai." One of the men choked out, coughing up blood. K's eyes widened. Naruko and she quickly drew 2 more kunai and made sure to really drive them into the men's crotches, or ripping them out quite painfully. These two would never have children ever. Their manhoods were destroyed far beyond even Sunade's skills to fix. The 2 men would have screamed if it weren't for the crushing force on their bodies. The man weakly begged the enraged sadistic mother to please Cash-sama. "Have mercy on us, why ya please wek, sorry that we tried to hurt Nudo." Kha looked at them with a cold sadistic look and increased the crushing pressure of her Susa's claws. "Why would I ever show mercy to fools who nearly kill my youngest child? My Sa means the world to me. You people are a threat to him. I end all threats to my baby." She smiled illy at the frightened men. "And do not speak my son's name, you worms. You are not worthy to even utter my Sa's name." KK grin turned psychotic, and with a flick of her wrist the 2 men were crushed to death by the Susan, whose paw hands, blood and entrails dripped on and landed on the ground with a sickening shulik. Several people who witnessed the cruel murder ran for their homes screaming in terror. Bha dismissed her Sus and burned the corpses with a quick kan jutsu. She turned to her other children. "Come on, we have to find Marin." She ran off, followed by Hin and an Itachi following. The blood sent with Nudo. The boy felt his wounds now healed enough so he could move again, so he got up, but the blood was still on his clothes. Naruto shrugged, not even caring about the blood on his clothes. He suddenly sends 3 familiar chakra signatures heading this way. Naruto turned his head to the east. It would appear that Akachan, Anu and Non are home. Gina looked to where Naruto was looking and saw 3 people, obviously Shinobi by their clothes, running down the road straight at them. The lead person, a busty red-haired woman with blue eyes, ran straight towards Nudo. The woman instantly hugged Nudo tightly. "Oh Narun, my little Naruk-kun, thank goodness you're okay." Sack. Then she smelled blood and looked to see her son's clothes decorated in blood. She stepped back to study him, her worries overriding her common sense. "Narun, they coated in blood. What did they do to you? I swear if they did anything." She was flipping out. Nudo watched as his mother fussed over him. Yes, he did love his mother, but she could be just so dramatic sometimes. Gina swept dropped. "Wow, talk about an overprotective mother." Naruto calmed his mother by running his fingers through her long red hair. And calm down, they just caught me off guard, that's all. They had a reverse summoning scroll in order to get me." B turned her face slightly away so her son wouldn't see her blushing, and she was enjoying the wonderful sensation of her son's fingers running through her hair. "Narun, well, I'm just glad you're safe, sweetie." She smiled towards him before noticing Gina. "Narkin, whose dog is this?" Naruto replied, "No one's Koden. She belongs to no one. She just came to me." Gina nodded and spoke, "That's right, Miss." Kha looked at the dog with a smile. "Kushina Kashchamaki." She bowed to the dog in gratitude. "Thank you for helping my Sai against those people. He means the world to me, and I'd be devastated if anything ever happened to him." Dina smiled, "Well, as good as a dog could smile. You're welcome. I just cannot stand to see a young child being beaten to death. It's not right." Then it nodded, "I agree, but still words can't describe how grateful we are to you for helping my Atato." So the family went home and invited Gina to stay with him. Uzumaki compound. A few hours later, Nudo was called by Gina to his room. She claimed to have a surprise for him. Naruto was just a little curious. He opens his door and looked at the inside of His room for there sitting on his bed was a practical goddess. Naruto was speechless just looking at the beautiful woman on his bed. She had long flowing silver hair that flowed all the way to the bed. Her ears were pointed. Her outfit was very form-fitting and revealing the top of her cloth with slightly slides off same as May seemingly hanging from her shoulders, revealing them and accenting her very large breasts, larger than Tad, and she didn't have any sleeves, but she wore sort of detached sleeves of a kimono. They are attached from the middle of her arm. The kimono also had a slit to the side of her leg to reveal some of her long legs and to not hinder her movement. Her eyes were a beautiful amber golden color with slits. 2 magenta stripes similar to the Inuzuka marks decorated her face, only smaller, and she had 4 of them, 2 under each eye. 2 more magenta stripes were on her eyelids, heavily resembling permanent eyeshadow. Her lips were a beautiful cherry red color. Her nails were sharp and pointed. They seemed to be more like claws and looked as if they had permanent red nail polish on each of her wrists. Were 2 phenom magenta stripes for a total of 6 stripes. A Prussian blue crescent mo on was seen on her forehead. Naruto noticed what appeared to be a long thick pelt of fur wrapped around her midsection about 2 times, and it stopped to just a little below her breasts. Naruto was now showing a slight interest in the goddess before him, as he had never seen such a beautiful woman before. From his mother and sister, she was simply gorgeous, way prettier than any of those Inuzuka women he had seen trying to kill him. Those Inusa females were much to fear, looking for his eyes, especially their tomboy leader. The silver-haired woman noticed Naruto's surprised expression and smiled. Well, Naruto. Oh, what do you think of my human form? Surprised silence is all she got for an answer as Naruto studied her via his calm, cool gaze. Before Naruto spoke, human form, I knew you were special. Gee, what are you exactly? Dina then told Naruto all about what she was. She waited to his reaction and then she felt a small hand gently caressing her cheek. Gina saw Naruto looking at her with a slight tenderness that was hidden with his cold gaze. The young boy spoke in a very slight, caring tone. Shocking the canine queen. Gina, you are without a doubt one of the most beautiful women I have ever had the honor of seeing. Your abilities of transformation are the best I've ever seen. To their real and not an illusion like the Shinobis, or your skills are unmatched as well. I can tell that you're really strong in battle. Gina, I would love to see you in combat sometime. Gina immediately felt a warm feeling flooding her entire being from listening to his truly sincere words. She had gotten compliments from males before, but never about her abilities. The past men only complimented her body. Gina felt her face heating up fast. She was a new shade of red by the time a few minutes passed. Dino also enjoyed the feeling of Nut's hands on her skin, and when she felt him stop and let go, the canine queen was saddened. Gina held her face, blushing up a brand new storm of She now knew what the feeling was. She had found the man who will one day father her pups, her destined mate. The only problem was right now he was much too young for any intimate actions. Also, Gina feared how her father, the Inendao, might react, or Kami forbid how her Atsuzu and Nyasha would react. Her little brothers always chazzed off potential suitors. At his current age, there was no way Naruto stood a chance against them both. Skip a year later, Naruto is now 6 years old and even stronger than when he was 5. He and Gina have got a bit closer in that year, though Naruto has noticed a change in her behavior, such being a little shy around him, especially in her human form. She's gone, having left to meet with her father, who Naruto learned was as famous as the 9BJU themselves. She left just a day ago. Naruto was thinking of her actions yesterday. They were strange for him. His mother and siblings were getting ready to go a mission given to them just today. Naruto chuckled as he heard his mother cursing the council to the lowest pits of hell. Bakken, you can be so immature sometimes. Naruto then thought back to a day ago. Flashback. 1 day ago, Gina was alone with Naruto. The two were just having a nice conversation, although Naruto noticed Gina's face heating up when she made eye contact with him. Just then a poof of smoke appeared in the middle of the room, and soon standing before the two was a medium-sized white dog. Gina recognized the dog as one of her father's many messengers. The dog bowed to her. My queen, Tao-sama has summoned you for a meeting with him. He wishes to see you. Dina nodded, but she looked to Naruto. I don't want to leave Naro, but I can't just turn away father. The canine queen was conflicted but eventually decided to go see what her father wanted, so she knelt down to Naruto's level and pulled him into a warm embrace. Gina nuzzled against his neck, inhaling his scent. She raised her head to his ear and whispered, "Sorry, Naruto I have to go and see my father, but I promise I'll be back as soon as possible." Naruto nods. "Okay, Gina-chan, I'll be waiting." Dina smiled and separated from him and went over to her father's messenger. Then she became a blue oar with the dog and flew out the window into the sky. Then flashback. P was grumbling about the council while pacing back and forth. She was outraged by their audacity to give them a mission. Kha growled in her mind, "Those bastards, how dare they just up and present us with another mission?" The red-haired beauty contemplated beheading a few civilians and non-clan shinobi to vent her frustrations out. The thought of their pathetic cries of mercy brought a dark sadistic grin onto her face. Hin knew what her mother was thinking and walked over to her. A younger Uzumaki woman whispered, "Kassen want me to help?" The same dark grin appearing on her own features. "I'm really good with my gain jutsu, even that little Kurui is nothing compared to me." Hin knew that Kurui was jealous of her own superior looks and skills. The crimson-eyed even had the nerve to try and kill her beloved Itato Naruto with a gain jutsu. Too bad, because of the QB and his own unique jutsu. Naruto was practically immune to game jutsu. Hin took great pleasure in tormenting the little with her own game jutsu that was fully aware with what his mother and sister were thinking and was a little scared by their evil grins. What an insane family, and I thought pure-blooded were crazy. Naruto low awked up as his mother looked down at him with worry, and then she hugged him tightly to her. His head was being mushed in between her breasts. "Lucky little bastard," Kha cried. "Oh my little Narun, I'm so sorry, but we're being forced to perform an Ankh mission. I'm just scared something will happen to you." Il were gone. Theo managed to pull his head from his mother's cleavage and assured her, "Kachan, I promise you nothing will take me away from you or the family. I won't allow it." It snatched her brother from her mother and hugged him too. "Cone, quit hugging Otto, let others have a turn." Thea glared at our daughter. "How dare she interrupt my alone time with Narkin?" Naruto just stared calmly, wondering what's come over his mother and sister these past 6 months, but he was feeling a dark possessive feeling towards them as if they were his alone. In it released her young brother Wek. "Try to complete the missy on fast to and be back as soon possible." Naruto nodded. "Okay Nan, and don't worry, I'll make sure to stay either in the house or in the shadows if I do go out." Thea smiled. "Wek, be back later." Narun. She performed a few hand seals. Hin da her wolf ambu mask and Itachi don his ton and vest. Kha revealed her eternal Manaku. Her eyes spun and suddenly they were gone, as if sucked into a void. Naruto was impressed. "Quite an interesting technique. I'm looking forward to learning it one day." Okog Tower mission reception. Ser sensed a huge chakra suddenly appearing, and in the blink of an eye Kushina and her 2 older children stood there. "San de Emi smiled. "A-chan, good to see you've arrived." Kha crossed her arms over a rather under her generous bust. "Whatever Hokage's just what is this very important mission anyways?" she asked in a cold venomous tone. "By K-chan, I thought you'd be happy with this one. You are to investigate the ruins of your former village Isidar and see if anything's left of your clan jutsu." At the mention of her former village, K's eyes widened. "You want me to explore a deserted and devastated land that I once called home for anything of my clan remaining?" "That's right, and don't worry about Naruto. Oh, I'll make sure he's well looked after," Toy said in his most convincing tone. Pathetic. Really, even Lee would be able to sense the fake care in his tone. He views Naruto as nothing more than a tool for the village to prosper. Bish easily picked up on the false grandly tone that she had be fooled by. Why, for her whole career she snarled, and before the Ambo could even stop her, Kina had Toy pinned against the wall of his office. Her eyes were crimson like the QB's. She brought her other hand at his throat and her nails elongated into sharp deadly claws. With an audible shink sound, Kha held her CL Oz directly at Kobe's jugular vein. Her Kai was so strong the Ambu fainted from sheer terror. "Listen and listen good, Toy, your false promises aren't worth the dirt I clean off my sandals every day. I just know someone will try a half-baked attempt at killing Nukin, and let me warn you, if anything I mean anything bad befalls my son I will kill not only those involved but every person in this whole damn village understand Kha got a dark smirk on her face maybe I'll start with oh I don't know your newborn grandson I think his mother named him Kohuzera Toy's heart froze at that you wouldn't. Kash's smile turned even darker. Try me, old man. I will do anything to protect my Saki, even if I must kill other people's children. Kobe shivered. All right. K released him and took the scroll. Spread my message to the council. She turned to her children. Leiden go Hinan Itachi Kunan. This man's mere presence disgusts me. Head and Itachi both nodded. Right. Kasen. The family vanished via Shunan Sarobi's side and turned to the hidden you may go inform Fugaku that he and Kakashi can form the mob and as long as they don't kill the boy they may vent their anger. The Anu grinned. Yes, Hokage-sama right. Away sir. Later that day Fugaku was grinning wickedly. Hokage-sama had given him and Kakashi permission to hurt the demon and teach it its proper place as their loyal weapon. Bashi was practically grinning under both his ambu mask and face mask. Finally a chance to get revenge for the death of his beloved sensei and back at that red-haired, who seduced him or so he thinks. Kakashi thought evilly. Yamaki, you will pay for seducing my sensei and having that abomination. I will kill him and deliver his corpse right to you. Then I will take your precious daughter and make her my little. His Sharingan eye was spinning. Soon they gathered towards the house. Barret tall older man was waiting for them. He had long white spiky hair tied in a ponytail. He wore a strange outfit for a shinobi and a horned headband with a key of oil on it. He also had red tear marks going down his eyes. Man was none other than Juro-sama, the Toad Sennin and Minato's former sensei. He absolutely hated Naruto for being the death of his student. Even though Naruto was Minato's son, Jiraiya blamed Naruto for the death of his beloved pupil. Gaa went through hand seals. His hand covered in kangi glowed and then he placed his hands on the door. The house glowed and soon stopped to show the security seals have been permanently removed. Jiraiya turned to the mob and nodded. The security seals are gone now. Go in there and avenge my student. The Hi bowed. You can count on us. Ura-sama, the demon will not survive this. Why? He then kicked open the door. Naruto knew they were coming and knew they had help from a Fuinjutsu master. The young boy looked at them so impassively even the country of Yuki no Kuni would seem warm. Bashi removed his mask and shivered at the boy's look. No way can this freak be related to Minato-sen. Sensei always was kind to everyone and he always smiled. Yaku then lunged at Naruto with a kunai. Your of a mother isn't here right now to save you this time, demon, nor is the rest of your family, because we council members sent them on a hard mission that will take all day, but we only need He's few hours. He then stabbed Naruto into the arm with his kunai before pinning him to the floor with more kunai. The boy didn't even flinch as the kunai pierced his flesh and held him to the floor immobilized. Soon the rest of the mob piled in and the torture began. Yet once again Naruto refused to even inches. They beat him down really hard. This time they were aiming to kill. Soon Naruto was beaten into unconsciousness. Fugaku shouted, now let's finish it off once and for all. The mob roared in agreement. The two gen in Iruka and Mizuki wrapped paper bombs around their kunai and tossed them at the bow. Yaku went through hand seals and inhaled fire release grand fireball technique. He breathed out a large fireball. Bashi went through hand seals and placed his hand down. This is for my sensei and Rinshin demon. Blue lightning began to crackle in his hand. You should be honored, demon. I just learned this new jutsu a month ago and I couldn't bear testing it on a fellow human, but you're not human. I call this lightning cutter mindscape. Naruto walked down the halls of a giant sewer. He felt a great yaki up ahead. Naruto soon came across a massive red gate with a paper tag with a kangi for seal on it as a low CK. The boy narrowed his eyes as a pair of giant red slitted eyes opened right in front of him. A large mouth filled with razor-sharp fangs was below the eyes in a dark grin. Naruto wasn't scared one bit of this giant creature before him. The demon spoke. Welcome, kid. I am the QB no Yoko, the leader of the 9 Bigu. Naruto raised an eyebrow. So you're alive, cub no Yoko. So you were sealed within me and were one sealed in Kachan. The Q smirked. Your Kushi-chan soon. All right, kid, you were as brave as she is. Naruto just stared unflinchingly at the fox demon. Q's grin widened. You are brave, kid, but let's see if that be Bravery holds. The QB reached out with one claw and the massive claws barely missed Nutke head as they smashed into the bars, the force not even phasing Nudo. The QB's grin got wider. Very impressive, kid. You didn't react or flinch when my claws came close to killing you. I'm sure you were smart enough to KN. Ow, how I got here. Yes, I even remember Kachan begging my father not to seal you in me, but he ignored her plea. The boy replied, full of cold venom that sent a chill of toe fear and lust down the giant fox's spine. QB gasped at his words. This boy, he's much darker than any human I've ever met. This Rkness I've only felt once before when I was a young vixen. This boy feels similar to Ji's-sama. Suddenly when the QB looked into Naruto's eyes, she saw something familiar. A massive shadow hovered over the boy and formed into a massive black wolf with some blonde highlights in its fur-t tails twice the length of the Kez switched behind the mighty beast. The wolf stood proudly behind Nudo with its crimson sharing and Renan eyes glowing in the damp sewer. My father has used both of us for his own selfish desire for power. Naro said just as coldly as before. Juubi agreed with the boy on that. The fact that she, one of the most powerful of the Kitsun, their very princess, was released and used by that wretched named Anna, and then the Yandai Mei sealing her inside his own newborn son for power, was as big a disgrace as it could get. She wondered and feared how her mother, the Kitsun queen, would react to learning she got herself sealed not just once but 3 whole times. She had even befriended her vessels. Naomi greatly feared her mother's reaction. Listen to me, Nudo, you don't have to keep calling me QB, for that is just my title among the 9B who call me by my birth name Naomi, and you must walk up now and free yourself. They're going to kill you and I will give you as much as my chakra as you can handle. Naomi was silenced as Naruto walked right up to the gate. He reached for the paper and began to remove it until an arm grabbed his, keeping him from going any further. The cold boy narrowed his eyes as he saw an older version of himself gripping his arm. The man wore a jonin vest, black pants and a white cloak with red flames on it. This man was the Yandai Mei Hok and his father Minato Namikaze. Naomi roared angrily, Gr Yandai Mei, come here so I can tear you apart. Lotto replied, not the best invitation, so no thanks. Naruto felt the man lift him up and leap away from the gate. Minato spoke full of relief. That was a close call. He smiled at Nudo only to get a dark cold look in return. What do you want? The boy asked in such a sinister tone even Orochim would flinch, and yet this blonde idiot was oblivious to his son's unmatched hatred of him. Listen my son, don't listen to that demon, it's trying to corrupt you. Minato tried to explain. Nudo pushed Minato away. Do not touch me again, Yandai Mei, I don't want you anywhere near me, and don't call me your son. I am nothing of the sort. You nothing but a sperm donor to my mother. How did you get inside my mind? Lunk smile never left his face. I poured a small bit of my chakra into the seal as a safety precaution. In saws you ever hit the 8 tails of the Q's power that out? Lotto looked confused. What? The Rudo D jutsu activated and began to spin. Get out of my mind now, you're not welcome here. As soon as those words left Nutke lips, Minato's chakra began to fade, the remnant of him soon fading away into nothing. Naruto then went back in front of the gate and tore the paper seal off with ease. He held the paper in his hands. Soon he was being surrounded by a black yaki and began floating backwards into what looked like a pure black vortex. Naomi was stunned to see 2 very gigantic and familiar eyes, the eyes of the Demon King Lord Yuba-sama himself. Naomi exclaimed in shock, JJIS-sama. Soon she felt herself fading out of the mindscape. She was free once again. Naomi disappeared and the sewer was enveloped in pure darkness. Outside, the jutsu and kunai came close to Nudo before a pitch-black dark aura rose up from his prone body. The kunai exploded when they touched the aura and the fireball was extinguished. The mob was horrified as the CK energy increased in intensity, soon forming a cyclonic shape around Nudo. It swirled faster and faster. The HI paled as his Sharingan saw nothing but swirling darkness. He knew what would happen from that. I went in new place to gain jutsu on his former teammate. The Ambu captain yelled, get out, it's about to explode. Sure enough, the mob tried to clear out, but they just couldn't get out in time, and the house exploded as if many exploding tags had gone off all at the same time. The house was greatly destroyed and the mob had been blown away from the boy. The ruins were more destroyed by the powerful Aura around Nudo. He was now free of his restraints and all his wounds had healed. The boy was on his feet transforming. Several people had suffered third-degree burns. Kakashi got lucky somehow but still suffered painful burns. Haruka and Mizuki were crying like little babies cause their burns hurt like hell. The frightened and wounded mob also saw a very familiar red energy suddenly appearing right beside him and beginning to take on a sphere shape. Naruto's sharp canines elongated into full-blown fangs. His sharp nails were fully developed, very deadly claws. His whisker marks disappeared, telling every one that Nudo was a Ginu-ri no more but a full-fledged demon, and to complete the changes fear sprouted on the top of his head as his hair lengthened and covered where his human ears once were. His hair gained black streaks at the tips and even a few bangs turned black to finalize his ascension to demonhood. From his tailbone sprouted 3 black wolf tails with blonde at the tips. His eyes stayed mostly the same but near his pupils there was a black-blue hue which seemed to make his slit pupils look bigger. The red yaki had now formed a large dome and a silhouette was forming inside, becoming more feminine in shape. A silhouette spread its arms and soon the red dome dispelled, revealing a woman of unnatural beauty, and the clothes she wore both covered and complemented her curvaceous body. This woman was a goddess unrivaled by anyone except her best friend Gina and her former hosts Ito in her prime and Kina, and of course only beaten and looked by her mother. She had long blood red hair and some fringes covered her left eye, and her right eye was a gorgeous ruby red that made those of Kuryuhi look plain and dull. Her hair stretched all the way down to her ankles. Her hair was unique in the fact that some blonde highlights and streaks ran through it. She wore the same outfit as Gina, but this one was red and had golden fox designs all over it. This goddess was none other than Naomi, the Cu no Yoko and Kitsun princess in the living flesh. Naomi saw the many scared humans. She's smirk baring her fangs. How nice it is to be free again. She licked her lips, excited and ready to cause some carnage, but her attention turned to the now demonized Naruto, who looked to be on the verge of passing out from the stress of breaking the seal and awakening his dark demonic powers. But before he he managed to give the mob one final dark glare that scared them out of their wits. Nudo passed out, but Naomi caught him before he fell. The fox princess looked at the mob. Bashi groaned. He saw Nudo passed out. Realizing his chances, Kakashi got to his feet and quickly charged forward. It's asleep. Now is the perfect time to kill the demon. He drew his UK katana, aiming to behead Nudo. Die, demon, I'll avenge Minato sensei. He swung his blade, but then Naomi easily caught the blade with one hand without any resistance. Bashi growled, woman, let me kill this monster. Foolish humans, you never were a smart bunch. Getting the container mixed up with the contained. How your race survives is beyond me, Naomi said with disgust. You thought he was the QY? I'm afraid you're sorely mistaken. That title Brad Yaki came out and covered her entire form. Her nails turned into sharp claws, her ears became long pointed fox ears, her fangs lengthened, and her signature 9 tails sprouted behind her and snaked around her body. Is mine. I am the almighty QB who you humans fear and despise so much. Naruto is something much greater than me. He is the future ruler of Maki. Those words froze the mob. This woman in front of them was the great demon fox they hated and feared all this time. But that means, oh hell, they are awfully screwed in so many ways. Looks like the Shinigami will be getting a gift load of many souls today. Naomi noticed several people back away and try to run, but due to their burns inflicted by Naruto's deadly yaki, they can't move too well. Naomi aimed her finger at the group. Red and blue bubbles gathered in front of the tip of her finger. Soon the bubbles fused into a large orb that suddenly shrunk, and the ground beneath it cratered deeply due to the level of compressed yaki as expected of the Q herself. Bashi watched in pure terror. No. That's way too much chakra. It's enough to kill even me. I have to get out of here. He saw several terrified people looking to him for protection. Even the usually arrogant Fugaku was scared out of his wits. The last Hodaki clenched his fists. No, I can't let the demon just kill them like this. He flashed through hand seals and slammed his hands onto the ground. Earth release, earth style wall. Kakashi raised up a brown wall of earth that had 5 dog heads on it. Naomi scoffed at the puny do in defense. No way would some puny earthwell ever stop her. I led beast ball. The orb cracked as bits of light shimmered through. Naomi shot aired white long range beam of raw chakra straight at them. The raw power beam cratered the ground as it traveled towards the shinobi. At the speed of sound it cut through the air as well. The Kashi charged more chakra into His earth wall, but it just wasn't enough as the powerful blast overpowered the wall and neved them in a bright white explosion. The civilians and even the ninjas screamed as the powerful chakra burned them. Naomi turned into a smaller version of her full fox form in a flash of fire, placed Naruto onto back using her tails. Then she suddenly rushed off through the gates out of Koha so fast no one saw nothing but a red blur flying through the village. So this part ends here. Alright, that's it for today's video guys. Let me know in the comments section how was the story, and also don't forget to share and subscribe. I will meet you in another video. Bye bye.